Hey there, science fans! Today we're diving into the fascinating world of gametogenesis. It's a big word, but it's really just about how our bodies create those incredible little things called sperm and eggs. You see, every one of us started as a single cell, a zygote, and that zygote was formed when a sperm cell from our dad met an egg cell from our mom. Talk about a life-changing encounter, but where do those sperm and egg cells come from? That's where gametogenesis comes in. It's like a microscopic factory inside our bodies, constantly working to produce these specialized cells that carry all the genetic information needed to create a new life. So get ready for a wild ride through the male and female reproductive systems as we explore the amazing process of gametogenesis. Let's start with the guys. Did you know that males produce sperm throughout their entire adult lives? It's true. From puberty until their golden years, men are constantly making new sperm cells. Now, sperm production happens in a special place called the testes. Think of the testes like tiny factories churning out millions of sperm every single day. That's right, millions. But these sperm cells aren't just sitting around waiting to be used. They go on an incredible journey of their own. Okay, so we know sperm is made in the testes, but how does it actually happen? It's a process called spermatogenesis, and it's pretty amazing. Imagine a production line with different stages. That's kind of like spermatogenesis. It all starts with special cells called spermatogonia. These are like the raw materials. The spermatogonia go through some changes and become primary spermatocytes. Think of this as the first step in the assembly line. Then these primary spermatocytes divide, not once but twice. It's like a cellular dance where one cell becomes four. This double division is called meiosis, and it's super important because it cuts the number of chromosomes in half. Why is that important? Because when a sperm meets an egg, they combine their chromosomes to make a complete set for a new human being. After all that dividing, we're left with spermatids. These little guys are almost there, but they need to go through one more transformation, spermiogenesis. It's like getting dressed for the big race. During spermiogenesis, the spermatids grow a tail called a flagellum, which helps them swim. They also develop a streamlined head packed with DNA, the genetic blueprint. And guess what? The head also has a special cap called an acrosome, which is like a tiny toolbox filled with enzymes. These enzymes help the sperm break through the egg's outer layer during fertilization. Talk about being prepared. So there you have it, a fully formed sperm. It might be tiny, but it's a remarkable feat of engineering, perfectly designed for its important mission. Section 5, Oogenesis, a woman's story told from the ovary. Now let's shift gears and talk about the ladies. While guys are constantly making new sperm, females are born with all the eggs they'll ever have. That's right, a woman's lifetime supply of eggs is already present in her ovaries at birth. But these eggs aren't just sitting around fully developed. They're in a sort of sleeping beauty state, waiting for their time to shine. This process of egg development is called oogenesis, and it's just as fascinating as spermatogenesis. It all starts with primary oocytes, which are like these spermatogonia we talked about earlier. These primary oocytes are surrounded by a little nest of cells called a follicle. Think of the follicle as a tiny nursery for the developing egg. Section 6, the egg, awaiting its fate. As the female body gears up for ovulation, one follicle will become dominant and grow much larger than the others. Inside, the primary oocyte undergoes its first meiotic division, just like in sperm production. But here's where things get different. Instead of dividing into 4 equal cells, the primary oocyte divides unevenly, producing one large cell called a secondary oocyte and a smaller cell called a polar body. The polar body is like a little sacrifice, taking some of the genetic material but not developing into an egg. The secondary oocyte, however, is the real deal. It's packed with nutrients and ready for fertilization. It hangs out in the ovary waiting for a lucky sperm to come along. If fertilization doesn't happen, the egg is released from the ovary during menstruation. Section 7. Comparing sperm and egg factories, timing is everything, so we've learned that both sperm and egg production involve meiosis and some pretty dramatic cellular changes. But there are also some key differences between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. First off, timing is everything. Men are constantly producing sperm from puberty onward, while women have a limited number of eggs available throughout their reproductive years. Secondly, while spermatogenesis results in 4 sperm cells from each primary spermatocyte, oogenesis only produces 1 mature egg cell from each primary oocyte. And finally, sperm cells are tiny and designed for travel, with their flagella propelling them toward the egg. Eggs, on the other hand, are relatively large and immobile, packed with nutrients to support a developing embryo. Section 8. Fertilization, a romantic encounter of epic proportions. Now for the grand finale, fertilization. This is where the magic happens, where a single sperm cell and an egg cell combine to create a new life. Imagine millions of tiny sperm, all racing towards the same goal, to reach the egg. It's like a microscopic obstacle course, with the egg as the ultimate prize. Only the strongest and luckiest sperm will make it through the female reproductive tract, and only one will be successful in penetrating the egg's outer layer. Once a sperm makes contact, a series of biochemical reactions occurs, preventing other sperm from entering. The egg's membrane seals up tight, and the nuclei of the sperm and egg fuse together, combining their genetic material. And just like that, a new cell is formed, the zygote. Section 9, Gametogenesis, why it matters for all of us. So there you have it, the incredible journey of gametogenesis. It's a complex process, but it's essential for life as we know it. Without gametogenesis, there would be no sperm, no eggs, and no new humans to marvel at the wonders of science. But gametogenesis is more than just baby making, it's also about diversity. Remember meiosis, that cellular dance that halves the number of chromosomes? Well, it also shuffles the genetic deck, ensuring that each sperm and egg is unique. That's why siblings, even identical twins, aren't exactly alike. So next time you think about the circle of life, remember the amazing process of gametogenesis that makes it all possible.